Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching News 9. This is the AI Report, and on this show we tell you all that's happening in the world of artificial intelligence, all the trends, all the new deals, the new investments and everything else you need to know about how AI is shaping your lives and your future. First up, let's begin with a roundup of all that happened in the world of AI in the week gone by. Take a look.
From a major deal between Taiwan and the US to Grok getting Elon Musk's XAI in trouble, this is AI Weekly. Taiwan said it aims to become a close strategic partner with the US on AI. That after the two countries agreed a trade deal which cut tariffs on many of the tech powerhouses' exports. It means Taiwanese chipmakers like TSMC will be charged a lower tariff on semiconductors. Their firms will also invest $250 billion in AI, semiconductors and energy in the US. Elon Musk's XAI imposed image editing restrictions on all users of its Grok AI chatbot. It said it introduced measures to stop Grok from allowing the editing of images of real people in revealing clothing. Global governments and regulators had cracked down on sexually explicit content recently made by Grok. Some, like the Philippines, blocked the chatbot, while others, like California, demanded the chatbot stop making sexualized images. OpenAI will start showing ads in ChatGPT to some US users. It's in an effort to drive revenue from the AI chatbot to fund the high costs of developing the technology. The firm said ads will be tested with users on the company's free tier and the lower-priced Go plan. Users on the more expensive tiers like Pro and Business won't have ads. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella taught AI at the World Economic Forum in Davos. He said AI must deliver improvements people can feel in areas like health and education. Otherwise, it could risk losing public support for the energy needed to run it.
We as even a global community have to get to a point where we're using this to do something useful that changes the outcomes of people and communities and countries and industries, right? Otherwise, I don't think this makes much sense.
Detective Raven, I'm Judge Maddox.
And a new sci-fi thriller movie about AI starring Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson premiered.
Hold on, just wait.
Mercy imagines a near future where the justice system is powered by AI and suspected criminals are presumed guilty unless they can prove their innocence. Ferguson plays an AI judge who mimics what it has seen and learned from humans.
I've never played artificial intelligence. I've never played a robot tapping in or AI tapping into human emotions and all the conversations that came with that. It was really fun.
Both characters scour social media, surveillance cameras and more with images blasted onto a giant screen in a courtroom as they try to solve the crime.
And with that, let's move into all the action from World Economic Forum, where global leaders, including NVIDIA chief Jensen Hwang, as well as Microsoft, Satya Nadella, as well as Bill Gates, had various things to say about artificial intelligence. The big news really coming from Davos that Jensen Hwang saying that AI is not a bubble and is indeed going to create jobs. Let's listen in to what these global AI leaders said at the World Economic Forum.
There is a huge concern that AI is going to displace jobs. And you've been arguing the opposite. Obviously, the build-out of AI, as you talked about, the biggest infrastructure build-out in history is going to occur, which
energy is creating jobs.
Yeah.
Chips industry is creating jobs. The infrastructure layer is creating jobs. Land, power, and shell. Jobs, jobs, jobs. I mean, right? It's incredible. This is the largest infrastructure build out in human history. Yep. That's going to create a lot of jobs, and it's wonderful that the jobs are related to tradecraft, and we're going to have plumbers and electricians and construction and steel workers and network technicians and people who install and fit out the equipment, and all of these jobs. We're going to, in the United States, we're seeing quite a significant boom in this area. The AI bubble comes about because the investments are large. And the investments are large because we have to build the infrastructure necessary for all of the layers of AI above it. And so I think the opportunity is really quite extraordinary. And everybody ought to get involved. Everybody ought to get engaged. We need more energy. I think that we all recognize that. We need more land, power, and shell. We need more trade skill workers. And in fact, that population of workforce is so strong here in Europe.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, the United States lost that in the last 20, 30 years. But it's still incredibly strong here in Europe. Infrastructure is a great investment opportunity. This is the single largest infrastructure build out in human history. Get involved.
My prediction is in the benign scenario of the future that the robots will actually make so many robots and AI that they will actually saturate all human needs. Meaning you won't be able to even think of something to ask the robot for at a certain point. There will be such an abundance of goods and services because my prediction is that there'll be more robots than people.
When people think about AI in healthcare, they're deeply aware that AI is going to help on the discovery side because AI can model complex disease processes and protein shapes, and so it's going to accelerate new tools being available. But I would say it's even more important that AI will be used on the delivery side. And that's true in rich countries, but it's even more true in developing countries where you're never going to have enough doctors or clinicians to deal with the demand manually. And so the AI is entering into the health system, but not just into the health system, it's all the way down to the level of the patient. So the patient is able to talk in their local language and describe what's going on.
There's a fundamental challenge, right? Because unless and until your rate of change keeps up with what is possible, you're going to get schooled by someone small being able to achieve scale because of these tools. So, but I think large organizations have an inherent strength. You have the relationships, you have the data, you have know-how, but the bottom line is if you don't translate that with a new production function, then you really will be stuck. And so therefore the change management challenge for large organizations is going to be bigger. The structural challenge for small organizations of how to overcome scale issues is going to be harder. So it's sort of the two sides. In an interesting way, it's going to be a very competitively intense world. Where neither side, like whether you're a new entrant or an incumbent, can't take it as like I can just coast.
There has been so much action in the World Economic Forum at Davos all in the week gone by, where big ticket investors and entrepreneurs have been talking all things AI, but coming specifically to India. And there is news from the Government of Maharashtra as well as the US-based AI software firm Supervity Ai, who have both signed an MoU to set up the world's first AI GCC. That's right, an AI Global Capability Center hub in Mumbai's Bandra Kurla complex. Now, Supervity Ai is a no-code agentic AI platform that enables enterprises to deploy AI employees to automate complex multi-system workflows, departments like finance, HR, and IT. It also allows users to create, deploy, and manage AI agents that read, understand, and act on unstructured data, often integrating with existing software to increase productivity. Now, according to the statement released in the press, the proposed Supervity Ai GCC Hub will act as a launchpad for multinational enterprises to safely experiment, design, deploy, and scale multi-agentic AI. Now, employees across finance, procurement, compliance, supply chain, customer operations, and other core businesses. So how big is this development and how significant is it likely to be for the AI space in India? To discuss all this with us, we have an exclusive conversation this morning with Mr. Utsaha Khare, the India Business Operations Head of Supervity. Thank you so much for taking the time, Mr. Khare, and I want to first up congratulate you on that MoU you signed with the Government of Maharashtra. But I want to understand deeper now this dedicated agentic AI R&D center. How would it be supporting companies in adopting AI-led operations models?
So for us to understand that, let's look at how does a typical GCC operates, right? Today's typical GCC employs thousands of professionals doing repetitive, rule-based work in finance, compliances, and operations, right?
Right.
They process invoices, reconcile accounts, handle customer queries, manage procurement workflows. This model has served the enterprises well. But we can't disagree that there are fundamental limitations in terms of cost, accuracy, speed, and above all, the scalability, right? What we are building here in Mumbai is fundamentally different. Our AI employees are going to be not just as co-pilots who are assisting humans, but they are going to be autonomous workers who can execute and complete business processes, clearly understand the policy that have been defined for them, and operate under a human oversight. And to give an example, like for example, in finance, right, our AI employees can process thousands of invoices with 99% accuracy, reducing all the turnaround time from days to hours. In
Okay.
supply chain, they can predict disruptions, optimize inventory, and manage complex vendor relationships and negotiations continuously.
Right.
So this transformation is the way we see it is moving away from a very static, task-oriented automation to a very dynamic, SLA-governed, operating model where AI systems will manage work, they will handle exceptions intelligently, and escalate or involve humans only when it's genuinely needed.
Okay.
So that's kind of the way we're looking of how we support the enterprises of the future.
Right. So help us understand and break down the numbers. We are picking up that as many as 25,000 AI engineers will be trained and will be, over time getting their skills further honed in the space of AI. Now, you're mentioning that a lot of autonomous employees are going to be part of this. Now, how does that equation between humans and autonomous employees really work? Because one has these weird images of robots really coming and sitting on a computer and programming. But I understand agentic AI is not that. It's actually just a software which is sitting on your machines and is doing the regular task, like you mentioned, conversations with vendors or processing of HR or finance documents. But this collaboration between humans and autonomous agents, how's that likely to pan out?
Correct. And let me take a step back to answer this question, right?
Sure.
And you mentioned about 25,000 AI engineers that we are looking to enable and train them. And perhaps this is the most exciting dimension of this partnership, where we are saying that we are not just building AI systems or technology, right? The most exciting part is that we are building the workforce for the future. We are building a completely new set of professional workers who are called forward deployment engineers, right? These are the guys who understand technology and they understand the business really well. Through our FDE academy, the training that we are planning for all these 25,000 in the first batch, and then expanding it further, is will focus on a few key areas. One is it will focus on a very on how we can train them to build the entire agent development life cycle. How can they contribute towards, or how can they understand about the entire multi-agentic system?
Right.
They can learn about prompt engineering. They understand how enterprises work and what kind of integrations do we need to do to work in an enterprise environment.
Right.
Secondly, and most importantly, is that how, and when you look at the entire and the entire AI landscape, right? AI governance and operations is becoming the center stage of the entire, the AI industry, and
Right.
that's where we want to train them on how can they go and monitor AI systems, how do they ensure compliances, how do they work under a human oversight, right? And third and most importantly again is that because with the advent of AI, technology and function or business knowledge are no more different. They are more or less, we're seeing them amalgamating together, right, as a function.
That's right.
So we want to train this new set of professionals on very industry specific AI applications who they understand domain. So they
Sure.
are going to be the people who will understand banking terminologies. They will understand manufacturing processes. They will understand the business pain points and challenges of a complex industry like healthcare, right?
Right.
So this is how we are building it, and the way that and the whole execution plan that we have planned out for Maharashtra is that we are setting up 4 different spokes across tier 2 cities in Maharashtra, and these centers are acting as a training as well as delivery hubs,
Right.
where and we're looking to partner with universities. We already tied up with the skill development programs of the state, and the idea is to build this whole talent pipeline, right, which is able to take on the challenge and the need and the capacity of the world's AI initiatives, right?
Right. So one direct question, Mr. Khare, MOUs get signed, but sometimes things slip through the cracks. How soon can we expect the GCC to be up and running, and how soon are you going to start recruitment?
Okay. So in fact, some work has already started at our end. We have our office already established in BKC. We are in terms of recruitment, we have already started. The work on the talent pipeline has already been in place. The academy is in place. The whole training program already has been designed. It's been tested. So we've already started this work, and we should be able to start recruiting in the next 1 month or so.
Oh, fantastic. So that's the big news really coming in, recruitment to begin in about a month or so. Before I let you go, one final question. While I understand that this automated sort of, deployment of AI along with AI engineers is going to understand industries and is going to understand service sector and services and processes within organizations. If one were to imagine the scenario, let's say, a few years from now, do you think product development, new product development and new go-to-market is also something that humans and AI can together work on? Because I was picking up that there are entrepreneurs, startup entrepreneurs who are actually looking at agentic AI co-founders. So can we expect not just services and processes as we know it now, but new product development happening on the back of AI?
No, absolutely. And I think this is a watershed moment for India as well. India has made extraordinary commitments to its position in the AI leadership in the world. And we see this partnership with Government of Maharashtra and this initiative, right, as a support, as a step towards supporting this nation's vision.
All right, well, let's leave it at that. Mr. Khare, thank you so much. What a pleasure it's been speaking with you. And once again, congratulations for that MOU. And for all the engineers out there, a month's time is when potentially you could look at applying to the Supervity Ai GCC right in the hub of Mumbai. Thank you so much, Mr. Khare. With Budget 2026 just around the corner, what are the expectations of the AI sector from Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman? Let's break this down for our viewers. And in fact, we have joining us on this edition of the AI Report a very special guest. We have Mr. Jaspreet Singh joining us from Grant Thornton, Bharat. Mr. Singh, thank you so much for taking the time. And first up, I think, very, very obvious open-ended question. There are expectations running high, but we know as we sit right now, just days away from Budget 2026, AI in the last 1 year has pretty much disrupted life and disrupted workplaces as we know them. Now, there was, of course, an R&D budget allocation last year, and there have been many talks and many expectations on GCCs becoming employment hubs as far as skilled AI workforce goes. But overall, what are the fixed expectations from Finance Minister as we head into Budget 2026?
Good morning. Thanks for having me here. I think, as you rightly said, we are at a very tipping point, right, from an AI perspective. If we cross this tipping point well, our dreams of becoming a Viksit Bharat by 2047 will probably come much earlier. There are 3-4 very, very clear expectations from a budget perspective, from an AI perspective. Number one is the 2,000 crore corpus, which was distributed as part of the India AI mission, could see more traction. There could be a lot of investment in the power sector from a data centers perspective, because everybody is going to talk about compute. Compute is one of the larger challenges that any AI organization face. There could be benefits in terms of tax SOPs to startups from a deep tech perspective. It could also lead to a lot of infrastructure priorities, a lot of priorities around tax, startup initiatives.
Right. So we've heard, in fact, Minister Ashwini Vaishnav at Davos saying that India is not a second-tier AI nation and is pretty much, in the top 5. But more importantly, he also mentioned the 5 layers of AI. Now, if you break down those 5 layers of artificial intelligence, which of those layers requires the maximum support from the government right now? Would it be at the core infrastructure level, or would it be at the top application? Which is the one which is likely to create more jobs and keep India in the race towards at least trying to conquer some AI hegemony in the world?
Interesting question, right? All these 5 layers go hand in glove with each other. But if I were to put up the 2 most important layers, I think infrastructure priority would be very, very important to give the boost from a AI development perspective to help bring compute power, data centers to India. We just heard about the entire AI GCC story.
Right.
But the entire applications around, can we have more center of excellences from education perspective, from an R&D perspective, health, pharma perspective, which would then lead to a lot of job creation, because the application layer will then increase.
Right.
But first, it's very important to have the basic infrastructure, the basic compute in place if we were to really be one of the top 5 countries and not, use somebody else's developed models.
Right, of course. So that, of course, continues to be a big challenge for India, given the fact that India has not really been at the cutting edge of developing AI models and AI applications. But now, if you were to look at, let's say, the first layer, which is providing for that infrastructure, the compute power, how much of the heavy lifting do you think the government should do by way of allocations, by way of, let's say, Budget 2026? And how much should it be in terms of, let's say, tax incentives to corporate India to make those investments?
On the first question, I think government should pump in more money from a power, from a compute perspective, to make sure that basic compute is available for organizations to start R&D on developing their own SLMs, convert them into LLMs, etc. Could also introduce PLI schemes from a AI perspective. It could be a new one where a lot of digital infrastructure reforms could take place because of that.
Right.
And on the second perspective, we could look at some of the other countries where they've given a 15% flat tax on startups who are or even give a tax haven kind of thing for a few years for startups that are investing in AI and developing applications that we can take to the entire world.
All right. So, of course, those are the tax incentives that the government can offer specifically on skilling, specifically on AI training to the youth of the country, because employment, again, continues to be a challenge. And while there are fears that AI could take away jobs, there are also expectations that AI could create new kinds of jobs as well. So specifically on AI training, AI skill development, to ensure that there is a larger adoption, not just of users of AI, but also towards creation of AI. What would be some of those incentives that the government could provide for skill development leading to eventual job creation and creation of future employers for AI?
Again, I would say very pertinent question, looking at the way our country is headed to from an AI perspective. On the first piece, I think last year there was an announcement of 3 center of excellences. Education was not one of them. I think we could create more center of excellences from an AI perspective. Look at engineering colleges, tie up, make AI labs accessible to a lot more people in the country from that perspective. Second is introduce AI curriculum pretty early in schools. Government can mandate some of those pieces. The National Skills Development Corporation can play a huge role in understanding and taking AI to the masses. Currently, fortunately, unfortunately, a lot of AI skilling is happening in tier 1, tier 2 cities at the max. But
Right.
if we include rural India or take tier 3 cities, this could have a massive impact on the job creation from a future of jobs perspective by 2030. And last but not the least, we could also look at code developing AI programs or AI universities, because one of the main, if you look at, for example, the demand that today some of the more developed countries has,
Yeah.
somebody who understands AI or an AI programmer or somebody who can write AI prompts, they call them
Yeah.
prompt engineer,
Right.
is the most sought after job.
All
So
right.
that's also creating new avenues from a future of jobs perspective.
Absolutely. Well, let's leave it at that for this edition. Mr. Jaspreet Singh, partner at Grant Thornton Bharta, thank you so much for taking the time and really laying out your AI wish list from Budget 2026. We promise to invite you back after the budget speech that the Finance Minister delivers on the 1st of Feb to see how many of your recommendations and suggestions actually made it to the speech. But for now, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
And with that, we come to an end of yet another edition of the AI Report. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, news continues right here on News 9.